What is up, freaks? Sorry. You might be unaware of this, but I am a big fan of Toby Fox's Undertale and Deltarune. The fact that I participated in Undertale the Musical as a chorus member and Burger Pants and Bob, I think, as well as some voice stuff for Under Event, and the fucking Gaster videos on this very channel may have given this away. What you do not know is that I'm also very smart and have excellent prediction skills. I have a very good grip on narrative construction. Fucking look at these 2 English degrees, bitch. And also, I have a pretty big familiarity with game tropes because I played a shitload of fuck of them. And I have also been speculating on the next 2 chapters for the better part of 4 years, so you better believe I've been doing a theory or 2. A game theory! So because I can't contain myself, and I want to cash in on my totally accurate predictions later down the line, here are some predictions on what we'll see in Undertale. Undertale? Yummy. Chapter 3 and beyond. I'm sorting this into a few categories, and they're going to sort of progress from top to bottom on how likely I think they'll be, ranging from guaranteed to kind of crackhead insane theories, which I hope are true, but probably maybe won't be. I mean, they will be, but, you know, shut the fuck up. Part 1, Chapter 4 is Church. And read her Bible. Starting off real obvious, Chapter 4 is definitely going to be set in the church. That's a gimme. Every single chapter has been based on going through some big doors, with the exception of Chapter 3, obviously, but because we know that's going to be happening in the house. But every single other chapter has been started with your main characters going through big doors, and the church has got some big doors. But we recently got a trailer, and we know for sure that Chapter 3 is going to be super TV-centric, and we can make some assumptions about the other parts of the game that were shown in that trailer that aren't, like, you know, TV sets or shit like that. What do we have here? Symbols of the Deltarune. Stained glass. And what's this on the fucking Deltarune's website? Fucking churches! Unrelated, I really loathe that I saw this imagery of an upside-down dark cathedral and went, is that a Homestuck reference? And I cannot make that connection, because Toby fucking worked on it. And I fucking hate that I now know more about Homestuck. God damn it. Okay, besides Homestuck making me want to end it all, what does the fact that this is set in a church mean? Quite a lot, actually. One thing we know precious little about in Deltarune, despite the fact it is very clearly an important facet of these characters' lives, is the actual fucking religion of the world. Like, we've got angels referenced regularly, especially in relation to Noel. There's the fucking little face, like, spherical angel in fucking Rudy's bedroom. There's the church in town, obviously. Chris's family went to church together. We also know that fucking Azrael in this world is a good church boy who confesses to minor crimes on Chris's behalf. But, like, come on, no way Jesus is in this game. Unless... Nah, seriously. The fact that we can assume that this, the Deltarune symbol is so prevalent in the church, and it kind of makes it clear that this thing, the Deltarune, is going to be, we can consider it kind of representation of the faith in this universe in general, but what the fuck's a Deltarune again? Like, we know that Deltarune is an Undertale anagram, but we also might have forgotten about the fact that Deltarune is a thing in Undertale 2. It's a fucking symbol of the angel from an ancient prophecy, and the monsters below waiting to be freed. And you get a lot of little signs about talking about it in Waterfall. Here's fucking Gerson to explain it. Oh yeah, the prophecy. Legend has it, an angel who has seen the surface will descend from above and bring us freedom. Lately, the people have been taking a bleaker outlook, calling that winged circle the Angel of Death, a harbinger of destruction, waiting to free us from this mortal realm. In my opinion, when I see that little circle, I just think it looks neat. Thanks, Gerson. Rest in peace. So what does this suggest? Well, I don't think it's a stretch to suggest that the Undertale Deltarune and the Deltarune, fuck it, represent the same thing. We've got a lot to talk about. Angels, as I said earlier, so clearly angel representation kind of holds still. And, you know, it is literally the same symbol, identically between games. So what does this mean? You know, who can say? Side note, did you all notice that there are, like, no humans in Deltarune? and the only reference to humans that we concretely have is the library in a book called How to Take Care of a Human, which Toriel took out a bunch of times, and Chris, upon seeing other humans, quickly shuts. And Rudy fucking chastises Chris for, instigating Noelle's terror of humans, which is sort of like she's terrified that they're under her bed, and then Chris goes under her bed just to fuck with her. Damn, Chris, what is wrong with you? It's like something happened to the rest of the humans in this world, something bad, and everybody has a bad vibe about humans, something that Chris understandably feels a little ashamed or unsettled by. In this world, clearly the monsters did escape the underground, or maybe they never were underground. They live up top, they live on the surface, and they seem still pretty into the whole Deltarune angel thing, despite all that. Maybe in this universe that angel fulfilled the prophecy? One way or the other?
Angel of Death.
Okay, getting to the point. I think that this religion and this angel that the monsters worship, and the fact that the humans are all gone, are linked. The angel made the humans, or at least most of them, go away, which means that Chris had to go to church and sing the angel's praises, despite the fact that it literally disappeared their entire race. Fun! And I think it goes a long way to explaining the kind of nightmarish quality of Chapter 4 that we've seen, or at least what we think is Chapter 4. We can kind of infer that the Dark Worlds are constructed from vibes that Chris has, so the fact that Chapter 4 is likely set in the church would explain bad vibes. It's fucking dangerous, and it's dark, and fucking Susie and Chris are discolored and sort of desaturated. There's no fucking sweet baby Ralsei to soothe the soul in sight. Shit's bad. So, yeah, Chapter 4 is in the church. We're going to be learning the religion of Deltarune, how it's directly linked to human extinction. Yeah. On a cheerio note, cheerio? Fuck you. Part 2, Toriel and Undyne. Okay, so human genocide aside, that happens a lot in this series of games, huh? Toriel and Undyne are probably going to be in Chapter 3 as a companion and semi-antagonistic force, respectively, vis-a-vis Chapter 2, like Noelle and Birdley. Let's break it down. If there's something that I like in my games, it's reoccurring themes. And I think a reoccurring theme in this game is going to be bringing the people that are important to Chris into the Dark Worlds to enjoy their fun fantasy adventures. So Toriel being in Chapter 3 is going to be an obvious gimme, right? She's literally in the room with everyone when Chris spawns the Dark Fountain, so yeah, she'll be there. But Undyne, where'd I get that from? Well, before the second chapter ends, we get a bit of dialogue from Toriel calling the police. And I think it'd be a bit odd for the police officer, who's usually not really feeling it right now, to be the one to come and make sure that things are okay. No, Napstablook isn't coming down. So who else, other than Undyne, to come to the rescue? My bet is that she comes to the house and checks things out, sees the weird vibes, knocks on the door, goes inside, and gets trapped in an anime TV show and never ever wants to leave, and tries to keep the protagonist from doing so with her big, big swords. Now this has implications, doesn't it? If the weird route, for example, of Chapter 3, if there is one, will involve, similarly to Chapter 2, making your new party member do something real bad to the other guy, does that mean that Toriel's gonna, kill a bona fide officer of the law with fire? Damn, Toriel. I mean, ACAB, but damn. Anyway, those are the two things that I'm pretty confident on. Let's move on to the more cracked conspiracies. Part 3. Sands. Okay, boys and girls, this is the one that brings up old nefarious Gaster boy into the picture. Oh baby, oh man. It's a doozy, this is. So, perk your ears up and sit right. It's a bit of a long-winded explanation, so bear with. So, Toby's been very consistent in labeling Deltarune the parallel story to Undertale. And whilst obviously that means it's a parallel universe, I think it's reasonable to assume that it's, happening in parallel to Undertale as well. They're two stories that are happening at the same time. Like two lines in parallel with each other. Look at this. You see this? That's what parallel means. So why is this important? So this is a bit wacky of an idea, so bear with me. But I think it actually explains everything to do with sands. What do I mean by this? You probably noticed that Deltarune Sans is just as aware of the existence of the protagonist having knowledge outside of their possible scope of reality, making little jokey references to that fact, similar to Undertale. Also, your boy is literally wearing the same outfit from Undertale, and whilst you might go, he's Sans, he's too lazy to wear anything else. I mean, yeah, that might be true, but I think the fact that literally every other alternate universe version of each character is wearing something unique and different, that's meaningful, right? And Toby doesn't just do things for the sake of doing them. I mean, he does, but usually his visuals and the reason that he makes... If fucking his symbolism's great. That's what I'm trying to say. Fuck you. I think that this is a signifier of a key fact, something really important. And that is that this Sans, he is the same one from Undertale. Or at least a version of Undertale where you decided not to murder everyone. If you did that, fuck you. and some time has managed to pass. And he's managed to find a way to hop to this dimension from that one. Which he can head through his house. You know that fucking weird sort of like fire underneath Sans' door? And you know how it's similar to the weird fire that you can see in the Dark Realms when you wanted to teleport from place to place? I wonder where that teleports to. It's tricked you. It teleports to Deltarune. It also kind of explains why we aren't allowed to go into that house, because, you know, I don't think you'd want to give the whole game away about the fact that he's coming from an alternate dimension, and if we went through that house and then fucking popped into, like, Snowdin or wherever the fuck, that might kind of give that away. Okay, this is a crazy theory, I know, but there's a reason this makes sense in my head, so, you know, continue to bear with. So if I'm right, and there isn't a Deltarune version of Sans, so to speak, or Papyrus for that matter, that means that there's just Sans and Papyrus. And for some reason, they exist independently from all the alternate dimensions. They're just themselves. One thing, one being, in a sea of different universes. Which, if it's true, would be really funny considering how popular alternate universe versions of these characters are. Toby Fox just sees all these fucking, like, underswap fucking stuff and he's just like, tricked you, it's just one Sans. Fuck you. You're probably asking yourself, William, this is a fantastic theory with no evidence apart from vibes. Why the hell would there be just one version of these guys in the first place? Hell, why is Sans even in Deltarune? Time to bring up Gaster again. So Gaster, WDG, Mr. Wingding Fawn himself, remind me, what does one of his followers say? Alphys might work faster, but the old royal scientist, Dr. W.D. Gaster, one day he vanished without a trace. They say he shattered across time and space. How can I say so without fear? I'm holding a piece of him, right here. Shattered across time and space. Ooh, interesting how that works. These, like, Goner people, the Gaster followers, they randomly appear in Undertale games depending on a specific variable in code. It's like they've landed in your particular Undertale's universe. And they're never a guaranteed find. Unlike the rest of the cast of either game, they're never consistent. They exist outside of the regular rules of the games. And they can teleport. And their cryptic is all shit. I wonder who that fucker reminds me of. So, yeah, I think that Sans is a fragment of your boy Gaster, same as Papyrus. They're just a couple of split-offs from this big man, which would make a degree of sense considering that there seem to be multiple entities which the Undertale community have identified as Gaster despite appearances and manners of speech and vibes being different. So, what's Sans looking for? I think it's two things. Firstly, to find the rest of himself, and bring them in to make one big happy family. I'm serious. I think Sans just wants more brothers and sisters, or fathers, or uncles, or whatever the fuck. I think his brother is one of the only things that gives him sincere joy in Undertale, and, you know, the idea of more family, hey, if you can find it, why not try and grab it? And the other thing that he's here to do in Deltarune is to make sure that the player doesn't ruin everyone's life. You know, like you can do in Undertale. I genuinely think that if this Sans is one that lives in a universe where the player did do a nice thing and saves everyone, would probably want to keep the vibe nice throughout the universes, and probably has a real fucking beef with dickheads who do things like kill his brother and his friends and all that stuff for no other reason than just because they can, they will. And he knows it happens. Mr. fucking our reports showed jumps in the timeline. Yeah, you know that players exist. You fucking yeah. Sans is looking for the rest of his old fragmented self, and wants to prevent the player from being a piece of shit. After all, there is only going to be one ending to Deltarune, despite the fact that there's a fucking weird route we can royally ruin everyone's day with. How else can that be true unless someone were to make it so? And, I think Sans, getting into contact with the rest of his freaky deaky trans-dimensional family, would have a pretty good way of making sure of that. Anyway, I started to ramble. Now it's time for the real fucking hot take. Part 4, Chapter 3, Secret Boss. So I think it's the oven. Like the one in the kitchen next door to the living room. Okay, bear with me. Here's my crazy idea. The Dark Worlds aren't necessarily based around specific things in a room. It's based on the room they're in more than anything. It's not based on like a specific part of the room. It's not just computers in Chapter 2. It's the recycle bin. It's the back room full of servers. It's the posters on the wall. And yes, whilst the TV is going to play a huge function in the living room, and it's going to be a big part of Chapter 3, it's only one part of the room. The kitchen isn't even separated by a door. So I think that means that the kitchen, that's going to be like a bit of a secret area, maybe like a sort of like a side zone in Chapter 3, and that fucking oven is going to be the secret boss. And I have 2 crack 3 reasons for this. Number 1, at the start of Chapter 2, Toriel threatened to lock that very oven after Chris went ham with the knife on the pie in their sleep. All of our secret bosses have required a key of some kind to get to them. Be it the prison key in Chapter 1 or the key gem in Chapter 2. And there's only one thing in that living room that I can really feasibly see to be locked. It's that fucking oven. And Toriel would have a pretty good reason to lock it, considering, her fucking tires just got slit. She might be calling the cops because she thinks there's a spooky criminal outside, but, wouldn't hurt to be safe, right? Could have been Chris, huh? Reason number 2. Shom, the shopkeep, makes it pretty clear that we're going to need a particular scrap of cloth in order to survive whatever the secret boss of Chapter 3 is. What's it called again? Shadow Mantle. Yep, that's the one. And they have no idea where it is. And you might be asking yourself, a scrap of cloth? What sort of thing could a scrap of cloth protect you for? Well, in the real world, maybe a scrap of cloth could protect you from taking something out of a hot oven. Bam! The Shadow Mantle is an oven glove type deal that protects you from the oven fire. I rest my case. If I'm right, you fuckers owe me $1 million. Okay, that's the end of the video now. Thanks to bearing with my very bad, completely feasible takes. If it turns out that the secret boss of Chapter 3 is Toriel, I will shit. So, let's hope for my sake it's not. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye. Bye. How about one of your 99 blaze potions? I'm saving those? For what? Your birthday? Come on, live a little. Okay, Dad, this one's for you. Yeah. It reflects fire attacks. Whoops. Hey, you gotta heal. Okay, so I forgot that the fucking fire... There's a thing that reflects fire attacks in this scene. So my feeling about the oven being the next boss in the next chapter feels very true now. It's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna happen. This is a sidebar for me editing the video in the future. I didn't remember this. I forgot this. It's real.